Okay, I guess we'll give this a go. This is my office in the house. It's Friday evening. Um, it's snowing again outside. But this is my office. All my important stuff. This is where we make all of our millions of dollars, etc. But so we'll try to do our answers to our comments on the last video. Had a really great response to that. So I guess we'll try to make this as short as we can. 'Cause I think it could get very long, but I guess we'll see what uh, comes of it. So I'm filming this on my tablet, and I'm using my phone to read your comments. This is what I use to do all my videos with. It's my camera. That's my YouTube. That's my whole 9 yards. So we'll get in the into questions. So I'm gonna start on the, the original video. I'm just gonna read them right down the list as they're commented. Uh, Michigan, and I'll read your names and whatever and stuff. So if I mess your names up, apologize in advance. But we'll try our best. But anyway, Michigan Farming says, I got your first question. Are you married? No, I'm not. I never have been. Mr. Nate, what is a perfect day for you? Perfect day is when nothing breaks. Nothing is sick, nothing dies, nothing uh, goes wrong. Nobody bugs me, uh, and I can feed cattle as I want and just do my thing. And then also, that's kind of a perfect day for me is when nothing goes wrong. But that's few and far between a lot of times. And then also, I talked to a couple people during the day, mostly via text messages. So they kind of help break the day up, and basically they all do the kind of same thing that I do. So we kind of uh, talk to each other during the day and just send each other random text messages that are sometimes make no sense, but we all have fun with it. But so that's a perfect day is when nothing goes wrong. Massey 1105 driver uh, ask, do you raise corn? Yes, I do on a small scale, and it is in a partnership deal with another farmer. He does all the farming part of that, and it's a farm that's a little ways away, so it's more just a kind of an investment type of deal. Um, I do corn and soybeans. I haven't seen videos on those lately or at all. But the corn all ends up in grain bank that we feed to our cattle. Uh, but it's kind of a different deal. It's not uh, what you would say typical row crop farming. So no, I don't. I do have corn and soybean ground, but it's kind of a different deal. Also, Michigan Farming has a YouTube channel. Check his videos out if you guys like. Mr. Nate also has a YouTube channel. Check his videos out. If you do have a YouTube channel and I don't mention it, you can be sure to say you do, and I will pass that along to other people because I try to check all my new subscribers out just to see who they are. And every once in a while, some of them actually do have channels, do make videos. So um, I will mention if I know you do have a channel, I will mention your name. But if you actually do make videos, uh, and I forget to mention it, apologies in advance. But leave a comment, and we'll make sure everybody gets to know about it. Jake Speece. Jake is a good friend of mine. I met him via YouTube. He lives about an hour or so away. He is the one I got my rye seed from. Um, He grows seed rye, sells hay and straw, and also locker cattle. He was being a smartass when he wrote his comment. Am I a belt buckle cowboy hat wearing, drive your dually diesel to haul your 10 cows or pasture cattlemen? Uh, no, because I'm not as cool as you are, Jake. So, and I know you like to wear your spurs too when you are hauling your 7 cows. That's a kind of a joke between me and Jake, but he's a really good guy. So he asked, his real question was, if I had to start again from ground zero, knowing what I know now, what would you change and or what would your operation consist of? I would be, hindsight's always 2020. The reason we do what we do is because we try to make educated decisions along the way. What I would do differently is we would be more feedlot driven and not have as many cows as we do. We would basically be running yearlings on grass or stocker calves on grass in the summertime and then feeding them out, or more feedlot cattle versus the cows. That's kind of how we started, and then the markets kind of went the other way where we could buy cows cheaper and we could buy calves. So that's why we got a bunch of cows. But that's what I would do different is stick more with grass cattle. And actually, what I would do different if I had a chance to start all over, I would run probably strictly grass cattle, and then I wouldn't have to have any of this machinery that I have because machinery is a big expense. Broadview Acres, he has a channel as well. Would you rather prefer a John Deere skidster or a New Holland? I have experience with a New Holland. I've never driven a John Deere. I do like the kind of the boom design of the new John Deeres. They're more level out your side instead of the angled. I know a New Holland is kind of the same thing as a Case. There is some differences in them. Actually, I would prefer just to have a Case skidster as well. I did look at a John Deere skidster the other day. So I don't know because I haven't really no experience. I do have experience with a New Holland one, a newer one. I'm kind of disappointed in it. And it just all depends on what the skidsters are. Ted Kaler asked, where do you market your fat cow at the local sale barn, which is about an hour away? We have actually we have 4 sale barns within an hour of me that all have fat cattle sales every week. They're all on different days. You can sell fat cattle Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at any one of those barns. We go to one. We've always went to one. All the major packers are there. Tyson's, Omaha. Then there's a couple local Iowa-based packers that are also there buying cattle. Most of our cattle end up at Omaha, in Omaha. Then Tyson's also a buyer, but a lot of our cattle end up at Omaha Beef in Omaha, Nebraska. Rick Garrett asks, what do you think about leasing farm equipment? I guess farm machinery is an expense. It's not an investment. If you think it's an investment, I guess think again. Every day you have it, it's like buying a car. It's not worth nothing until it's like 50 years old and has no miles on it. So if you're gonna buy equipment and use it, it's not worth nothing. And so the M is actually leased. I have a 5-year lease on it. There's a couple other questions about that, getting more into it, but it is leased because I have no intention of keeping it because we're going to use the crap out of it. Pardon my language, but that's the tractor's here to be used. It's got 2,435 hours on it right now. This is December 16th. It'll be 2 years old January 15th. The lease payments, why we went with the lease payments are cheaper because you're only paying for what you use. There's no point of having money sitting in the machine shed in machinery. And I've got another farmer in my area that he's kind of been a mentor to me. He's a younger farmer as well, and he is a big row crop farmer. He leases his combine and bigger tractors because he has no intention of keeping them. So there's and he'd rather buy farmland than have money tied up in machinery. So actually, I'm a proponent of leasing. The problem, to some degree, is what we're finding out with the M is these leases were made for row crop farmers that put like no hours a year on them. So with the number of hours we put on a year, it's we're still kind of figuring that out. I don't know how anybody puts 100 hours a year on a tractor. Um, we do that in a week. But yeah, I am a proponent of leasing. If you can find the right deal, because basically you're just paid for the hours that the time that you use that tractor. So at the end of the lease term, you can walk away or buy it or whatever. Josh Timmer asked, "Do you ever feed the round bales in the shed by the Deutz?" Those bales are probably 3 years old now. We will feed them eventually if we get around to it. They're basically there to hold that plywood wall up because we used to get bulk feed dumped on the floor there, and so that was our bunker wall. So the bales kind of held that wall up. Those bales will be the last ones we use. There's 10 of them there, right there along that wall. We'll use them if we need them, but I guess we're not gonna make a point of going and getting them. But probably one of these days we're gonna have to yank them out of there and put some new fresh ones in there. I'm hoping this is turning out okay, because so this is the first time we're doing this. So Roger Wilson made a comment. He didn't ask a question, but Roger always comments on a lot of my videos, so thanks, Roger, for doing that. DeBacker Family Livestock. What do you prefer, cow, calf, or feedlot operation, and why? DeBacker Family Livestock also has a YouTube channel. You guys check them out too. I actually prefer feedlot cattle. Why? They're a lot less work. And actually, in this part of the world, Iowa, this is cattle feeding country, not cow calf country. Especially in my situation, we have to feed cows all winter. We can't graze corn stalks, etc. So cows are when calves are expensive. Cows make money. When calves are cheap, like they are now, I can buy calves cheaper. Then I can keep cows around, and then plus I can go buy all steers, all black steers, all weaned steers, all 5 times vaccinated steers, long time weaned, etc. Most of the time we spend most of our time with cow work, not feedlot cattle. Feedlot cattle, feed bed, haul manure, and we're done. Cows, it's always chasing this, chasing that, doing this, doing that. So I actually prefer feedlot cattle. See, then he asked, do you ever use any DDGs, which is dried distillers grains, which are a byproduct of making ethanol? Yes, we have. They're not as economical right now for us. The wet corn gluten, which is the byproduct of the corn sweeteners, is actually a more economical source of protein for us. So that's what we're using now. But we have used the DDGs. Most of the time we'll use them in like young calf rations, in our starter ration. Any updates on what has happened with the skid steer? Those would be separate videos. Norman Z. He comments a lot. If you had some Charolais Angus cross cows, what kind of bull would you use on them? I would use an Angus bull. We like kind of a 3/4 Angus type of calf, and then a quarter Charolais, Simmental, Limousin, what have you. But that's what I would use on them. Dairy Farm Vids, they make videos out in California. I really like those videos because it's like big feed yards, but it's dairy cows, and then it's dry. they complain when it rains, but they don't know what rain is. Um, he's mentioned. Let's see. That's what basically what did I go to school for and how long and what do I have degrees in, etc. Went to a local community college in the ag production management program. My diploma is right up there. It was a 2.5 year program. We went to class year round, spring, summer, fall, winter, the whole 9 yards. And I specialized in beef production, but basically it's a farm management type of program, 2 year community college. So I got an associate's degree in that. Also, after that, I did some nutrition coursework, University of Nebraska, and then also some beef cattle reproduction work, class type stuff with the University of Wisconsin at Madison. And then also AI school. So we do all of our AI in as well. But basically, my main degree is from a local community college in farm management. So a lot of courses in finance, just anything farm management, business related. And then some additional work in nutrition, beef cattle nutrition, and then beef cattle reproduction as well. Elm custom harvesting. What's going to be the fat steer market from a year and a half from today? Enjoy your videos, keep them coming. Have a great evening. That question only can come from a person who is feeding out bottle Holstein calves, because that's the only cattle that you keep on feed for a year and a half. I have no idea. If I did, I would not tell you, because I would be a millionaire then, and I would be done with farming and YouTube, and I would be on vacation for the rest of my life if I knew what the fat cattle market would be. I have no idea what the fat cattle market is going to be in a year and a half. I don't know what the fat cattle market is going to be this spring. So good luck with all of that. But they comment a lot on my videos, so thank you. Number 1, Os class. Do you finish steers to slaughter weight? And if so, how heavy? We've in the last couple of years, and actually kind of always, we sell all of our cattle as fat cattle, finished cattle. There was a couple of years where we did sell yearlings, and that was basically for a cash flow problem. How heavy? Between 12 and 1,400 pounds. Our heifers will probably weigh 1,250 or 1150 to 1250, and our steers we can get them up to 1350 to 15. The last load of fats we sold, the average weight was 1486. Are we able to finish any cattle on grass or all in fed in pens? All of our cattle are fed in pens. We do not grass feed any cattle. There's not enough time to grass feed a calf, and then it needs a special type of calf to do that in a special market. Because grass fed cattle around here will bring nothing unless you specialize and market them. And actually, I thought about doing that with like the miniature Herefords or low line cattle, kind of to tap into a different specialty market. But we haven't got to that yet. DLK, hey, they just started doing a channel. They have a channel. I checked some of their videos out. How many days do you plan to feed for when? Trying to figure. Basically, he's wondering how many days do we feed in the wintertime for cows. He says they do about 200. I think he's up north somewhere. I think it could even be Canada. We basically figured November 1st to May 1st, so that's like 180 days. Most of the time, the cows, we bring them home by Thanksgiving, so by the 20th of November or so. And then by the time we get the last of them hauled out of here, it's the 10th of May. So basically, figure 180 days feeding cows in a normal year. November 1st to May 1st. Sours Calico asks, shout out to Sours Calico. He makes videos. I know I talk about him a lot. He's my online friend. That's a joke between him and me. But he's a really great guy. Check his videos out if you haven't. I know a lot of you have. But he wants to know what the name of my ration software is, that formulate rations, where did I get it, and how. My ration software is, I know you can't see that, but this book right here, The Nutrient Requirements of Beef Cattle. In this book, I just found out this was published in the year in 2000. I just found out because I was doing a little bit of research on my questions beforehand. There is a new version of this out September of 2016, so I need to get a new book. But you can get this from the National Academy Press. This is assuming you're a little have some computer. This is all the ration softwares that any of the feed companies have. This is the Bible to how all that's figured out. It's very heavy reading, but if you're into that, man, you can see I've got pages, and you can see how it's wore. That's how much I've probably read this book several times. But in the middle of this book has all the equations of how they predict what a cow needs or what a calf needs to gain X number of pounds a day, whatever. There's I mean, I even got notes. It's like here, right? The requirements for pregnancy, lactation, growth, and maintenance of a beef cow. There's just a series of all those equations. NEM equals SBW raised to the 75th power times parentheses A1 times BE times L times COMP parentheses plus A2 squared parentheses. Now there's a reference guide to what all those letters mean, but it's a lot of formulas, equations, etc. It also came with a disk. That's like a old school computer disk. But anyway, so what I did is I took these formulas and I put them into my own. I'm gonna try to see if I can make sure you guys can see this, because it's good. I know it's gonna be a glare, but I'm gonna try. But it's basically just a Microsoft spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and then I have if I wanted to make a premix, I've got a spreadsheet that does that. A starter ration, grow rations. That's the load sheets. We were messing with that the other day. I made this all on my own. But I took all those formulas and made spreadsheets. So basically, this is the group name, number head, beginning weight, end weight. This is where you put all your ration ingredients in. You have to have kind of some knowledge of what you're doing and how things work. It doesn't do it all your own. It does all the math for you and calculates it. Figures out how much feed, what they will eat, feed conversion, expected average daily gain based on all that. And then I got my finish rations, my replacement heifers, my cows. We're just working on the cow stuff today. And and then my feed library. So all my feed ingredients, the dry matter, the crude protein, the energy, the calcium, the uh, phosphorus, the fiber levels, etc., are all entered into there. Um, and then there's like 7,000 pages of calculations. Um, that's how it's all kind of done. So it's kind of a high tech version. I just looked that book up. A hardcover copy of that book, I didn't know if it comes with any ration software or not. Is $150. Um, but for everybody out, check out the Iowa Beef Center on the internet. I think you just Google Iowa Beef Center. It's kind of an offshoot of Iowa State University. Uh, they have some software available to purchase too. I think I bought the cow. I forget what it was, but several years ago, I bought one of them. I don't know if it was the cow version or the feedlot version, and so that's kind of what I modeled some of my. The glare is going to be a problem, but some of my that off of. Uh, but I think you could get the whole set for like $200 off the internet. Just what I was looking at, but that's Iowa Beef Center. Uh, they have a lot of useful information as well, just for cattle operations. Probably more so in the Midwest, the Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota type area. Maybe not so much out in range country, but they do have some ration software. I've had my feed companies do rations for me. Um, Basically, it's the exact same thing as this. Uh, they come up with the same answers that I came up with. So this is I've been using this for I don't know how many years. But I have like I mentioned before, I have a background in beef cattle nutrition to some degree, so I kind of know what works, what doesn't work, and how things work. Um, so I know what. So I have some background in it, but that's my ration balancing software. That's how I print my load sheets out, which I did a video with a couple of 3 or 4 back. Most of our rations are very similar from throughout the year because our ingredients are the same. So there's not much differences. And let's see what's next. Massey 1105 driver. He asked a question earlier. He also said this. Yeah, how long have you been farming? I guess forever. I will be 40 this spring. I've been graduated high school, went to college, worked for two two cattle uh, farmers while I was going to school, college. Graduated college in 1997. Started managing a cow calf operation, which is right here. I did that for till they retired. Took over. So I've been here for almost 20 years now. So this is all I've ever done. Which brings kind of the next question. Ted Kaler asked again. Any regrets your decision to farm and raise cattle for a living? No. If I had a regret, I could walk away from this as fast as I walked into it. Actually, I could walk away faster. I don't own any land here or nothing. I would just put for sale sign up and on my machinery, and I'm be done. Yeah, no regrets. Wish we could make more money, but I'd rather be poor and do what I love than make money and be unhappy. Which would bring to a question coming up later. There's something Larson Valley Farm. He does YouTube videos as well, so check him out. When will you buy 2 more M series? As soon as your check clears the bank, we will be getting 2 more. How many cows do you calve out a year? Do you take any from wet calf to finished cattle market? Yes, we sell all of them as fat cattle. Right now we're calving. We will calve between, I don't know, probably 325 to 350 mama cows. This coming year, our number kind of fluctuates just based on the market. If we keep a bunch of heifers or get rid of a bunch of cows. But yeah, we're gonna have between 325 or 350 cows. Farming Life, they do a channel. They're crazy. They have like 80 some Holstein bottle calves nowadays. More power to them. But I used to do that in the old days. Why do farmers farm and put themselves through the headaches, the backaches, the stress, and the worry? Because this is what we do, and I know they do the same thing. They're full-time farmers. Takes a special breed of people to do this. I joke with some friends. It takes a special breed of stupid to do what we do, but we won't do it any other way. That's why we're farmers. Not because we don't know what else to do or couldn't go do something else. I think we are chosen to do this because it takes a special breed of person to deal with the headaches and all this stuff. So I'm pretty sure most people couldn't do it, and that's why we get to do it. I really enjoy your videos. Keep them coming. Yeah, thank you for the comment. Let's see. Bo R says, will you ever buy a farm or land? That's the intention eventually. The problem is farmland around here is $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 an acre. I need to come up with about $5 million to buy what I have. So that's why I don't own any farmland yet. Spring Hollow Hay Farm, he does a channel. Hope his 6110M works out great. I'm pretty sure if he uses it even a third of what we do, he'll be more than happy with it. So shout out to Spring Hollow Hay Farm for getting a real tractor. He'll be happy with it. Do you have any hobbies or interests outside or away from the farm? I like spending time with people. I got a couple good friends. There's a minor league baseball team in not too far away. So we go to a lot of those games in the summertime. Stock car races as well. Let's see what else. He's got a daughter's in 4-H. I was big in 4-H back in my time. They show cattle. Yeah, there's some different views on show cattle. You basically just take it for what it is. It's kind of like show dogs, show horses. Because I have kind of the same feelings on some of it, but you just take it for what it is. So we do the show cattle thing with them in the summertime. State Fair, 4-H. That's kind of my hobbies. They're all kind of farm related, but it gets us give me away. I like history stuff. I like documentaries. I watch kind of not a lot of TV, but like PBS stuff, history type of deals, wartime stuff. I also like to read and not farm magazine stuff. I got a whole pile of magazines here I haven't read yet. And probably had no intention to read. But I like reading, Netflix. Basically, that's where I get all my documentary movies type stuff from. Let's let's see, and then yeah, just spending not time with other people away from the farm. I don't hunt or fish or nothing. I don't have the patience to fish, and hunting seems too easy for me because I see everything anyway, and I guess I don't need to walk around in the cold to do that. And then YouTube has been kind of my hobby, and I watch a lot of YouTube stuff, and a lot of it isn't necessarily the farming stuff. It's some other channels that I kind of gotten into, and then making these videos is kind of fun for me. That also kind of ties into another question that's coming up later. Ben Haggard, do you think you will get a new 6M two-wheel drive? No, I will not get a two-wheel drive tractor unless it's $15,000 or less. We kind of need a front-wheel assist tractor for feeding cattle in the dirt yards, just to pull the feed wagon around. That's the reason I think our clutch on our 966 goes out all the time. Plus, in just stepping on it 200 times a day. But we kind of need a front-wheel assist tractor to feed cattle with. So I will certainly not be buying a brand new one. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. It's just not something that's practical for us. Jonathan Sheerhan, will you ever get your own corn silage chopping equipment? If I ever have my own corn ground, I will. I mentioned earlier I do have corn ground, but it's too far away to chop. If I did have my own land to raise silage off of, I would get my own harvesting equipment. Just because we would do a vast amount of it, and what makes corn silage not cheap is paying somebody to do it, and then buying it from somebody else. So if I ever have the land, I would. KMS Farms, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel? Back when I started, there wasn't as many channels, farming channels, as there is now, or not as active. Channels weren't as active. I enjoyed watching those, and I wanted to basically share my story, and then I also wanted to, how do I say it, give a real picture of, I know I don't share everything, but I wanted young people that were kind of in my situation to see how somebody else did it, and not how somebody who's been farming forever does it, or somebody who has a part-time job, full-time job does it, but they don't disclose all that. Nothing against any of those people, or anybody that does that. It's just because I kind of got led on the wrong path when I got started. You cannot buy a tractor, a 40-year-old tractor, and put 1,000+ hours a year on it and think it's going to last you forever. It's not going to happen. If you want to do what I guess basically I just wanted to share my story and how I do things. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. But that's I guess why I got started. And then it's fun for me. It's fun because of the interaction with people, and I've met several people via the YouTube, and I met a couple of them in person. And then, like I said, I talk to a couple of them almost daily now. So I guess it's something I was looking. I enjoyed watching some other videos, and I thought, well, I can do that. So that's how I started. Whiskey King, when you bring cattle in from the sale barn, do you medicate them all or spot treat illnesses? I'm assuming he's asking, or they are asking about, do I mass drug treat everybody? No, we never have. We'll treat them as we need to. We do vaccinate them all, but I think what he's referring to is do we give them all like Draxxin or LA200 or whatever any type of antibiotic just to start with. No, we've never have. We'll just treat them as we need to. C&J Farms. Have you had other tractors besides the three you have now? Nope. Those three you see are the tractors I have. Those are the only tractors I've ever had. And then the Deutz was a tractor that my landlord had. My previous employer. That's the tractor we used to do everything that we do now, but on a much smaller scale. So those are only 4 tractors. There is one other tractor. That is my grandfather's John Deere A. That's me, Dad, and our dogs. This picture's I don't know how old. 10, 15, probably almost close to 20 years old maybe. But we do have that tractor sitting in Dad's shed. We are in the process of restoring it. Someday I'll show you that. But it's in like 1,000 pieces. But that is our other tractor. It's a 1948, I believe. That's the only tractors we've had. B. Thompson. How many cows do you have and how many acres do you run? Like I said, between 325 and 350 mama cows. How many hay acres? I have no idea. Because they're all water. Actual hay acres, 0. Because they're all our hay that we make is all waterways, contour strips, headlands, etc. And I'm not exactly sure how many acres there is total. Not nearly enough because we do actually buy a lot of hay and then use corn stalks. But actual physical acres that are dedicated to hay, we have 0. Floyd Farms. Thoughts on leasing tractors, equipment versus buying. I mentioned that earlier. If you plan on getting rid of them or using them and get rid of them, leasing. Equipment is an expense, not an investment. Because yes, a lot of stuff is worth kind of what you paid for them, but in the end, if you're going to use them, they're going to not be worth anything. And then lease payments are cheaper usually than a purchase payment. Prestamon, what percent of your heifers are retained and bred each year? Probably 90% of our heifers are actually retained and bred every year, or sold as open replacement heifers. But as far as what we keep for ourselves, basically 10-15% is what we keep to replace the cows we get rid of. Kind of depends on the market, depends on how many cows we have, etc. Our fall calving herd, which is basically 1/3 of our cows, we kept 0 heifers this year to breed for next year. But the year before that we kept, I think, all of them, and then the year before that we kept all of them. So it all kind of depends on how many cows we have, and then. Well, most of our heifer calves have always been sold as breds. Every year. Last year we kept all of them, so that way, because of the market. So this year we really didn't need to keep any because we already had too many cows. So we sold a lot of them as opens. The other people were going to breed because I decided I'm not going to breed them. Wasn't going to breed them this year, which actually was a smart decision. And the ones we have left, we're keeping them, but we got cull cows to sell, open cows, old cows. But basically, we keep around 15% for replacement heifers. But over the last several years, we've actually been breeding all of our heifers, except for maybe we cut off the bottom 10% or something. But we sell all of them. Steve Ross, do you prefer to buy weaned spring calves in the fall, weaned fall calves in the spring, or yearlings? I prefer to buy yearlings. My next choice would probably be weaned fall calves in the spring just because of the weather. And then but the key word on all that was weaned. Weaned calves go a long ways. And actually, but I would actually prefer vaccinated calves over weaned calves. Around here, you get a lot of calves that don't even have a shot in them, and they will not live here because of disease pressure. But I actually prefer to buy yearlings. I've gotten old and lazy, I guess. But I like feeding cattle out and not babysitting and straightening calves out. The problem around here is you really can't buy. You don't get paid to do that because everybody thinks they have to buy everything. So for buying calves off the cow, not weaned, maybe no shots or whatever, they cost just as much as the straightened out cattle. And then by the time you get them to a yearling weight, you haven't got paid for babysitting them. So I actually prefer to buy yearlings. And the last couple groups of calves that we've actually bought have been yearlings. Rammer Jammer so he's looked at through my old videos and what kind of trucks we have. Ram, Chevy, or Ford. Ford trucks are our main trucks. We do have the one Dodge that has the bale mover on it. That was my previous employer. That's farm truck. That's the truck that I had. That was my farm truck when I had a job here. So when they decided to sell that a year ago, I bought it back. But our main trucks are Fords, F-250 Super Duty on the pull trailer, but you've seen that here and there. And then we also have a Ford Ranger. That's our runaround truck because fuel is not cheap most of the time, and that truck is light, so it gets over wetter ground, checking cows, whatever, going out to pastures, whatever. So, and just a general all around good run around truck. Yes, diesel or gas. Of course, the Super Duty, the F-250 is a diesel. The Dodge is a diesel. The Ford Ranger is a gas. All of our pulling trucks will be diesels, and last longer and get more power out of them. Says enjoy your channel, so thank you for Rammer Jammer. Ben Achson, apologize too if I messed anybody's name up. What was the hardest thing to overcome getting into farming? Land, place to do it. And what's your hardest part of farming you face right now? Money. Land or facilities or buildings are the hardest part of getting into farming. The availability of them, especially if you can't go and buy them. You go buy a place to farm. Land is your biggest issue. Money is the second one, because after a while you have to start making money, or this is there's a lot of money out there. That's actually an aerial farm photo. There's a lot of money to run that every day. So that becomes the next hurdle. But banks will give you money. That's really probably not the biggest. The biggest issue is finding places to do it. Because you can't just pack up and move and rent an apartment. There's always places to go live, but you can't find places to farm. Farmer Cole, how old is your round baler? It's a 2013, I believe. How many bales are on it? I think 35 or 3,600. I bought it a year ago. And I think I don't know how many was on it before. It was gently used when I bought it. So I've had that one for a year. It's a 569 John Deere. What do you think about your John Deere M? I love it. Like I said, 2,435 hours on it today. Um, Wish I had like 4 more. Jones Farm asks, how do you keep your kids in the feed yard when you're feeding since you farm alone and nobody to open and close gates? We get a few that maybe walk out, but they will basically turn around and follow you right back in because we do have all of our dirt yards, cow yards, basically half of our feeding capacity feed pens are, we have to drive through them to feed them. Most of them are just trained. They just kind of know that the feed wagon's coming. They stay out of their way. We do get a couple of surprises every now and then. Somebody runs out and then they all follow or they don't turn around. But in general, they stay in there. Hot Soul, why don't you buy the Deutz so you could use it on a small job around the farm for mixing or raking hay and keep the 966 as a backup? Because the 966 is 1,000 times the tractor the Deutz is. The Deutz is got 8,900 hours on it. It's wore out. It's has bald tires. It's not mine. I'm not gonna buy it. I did think about using it for a loader tractor lately, but the 966 is 1,000 times better tractor than that tractor ever was. Trowel 77. Somebody's texting me. When is it good to get into cattle? What cattle? How much land do you need, or just a barn? How many should you start with, or crop share? That's a very loaded question. When's the best time to get in cattle? When you can do it. There's no right answer. You can wait till the market's high or low. You'll never win. When you have a place to do it, go do it. What cattle? That all depends on where you're at. I don't know what location you're at. How much land do you need? Again, it all depends on where you're at. Or just a barn. Well, if you're gonna just feed cattle, then just a barn. How would you start with? How many? Depends on how much money you want to make. If you want to get your feet wet, how many do you have room for? If you want to make a living, you're going to need 5, 6, 7,000 head. Or crop share, if you have an opportunity to do that. My best advice is, like I said, it's a very loaded question. I don't know what your situation is. If you have somebody that you can crop share with or work with, that's probably your best way. If you have access to all kinds of empty pens or land, then do that. But without knowing really what the situation is, I can't really offer too much advice because I don't. It's varies for every person. But in general, when's the best time to get into it? Is whenever you have the money or place to put them. Because that's best experience is get your feet wet and just go do it. Corber Farms, would you buy a 7210? Nope. Nothing wrong with 7210. It's just too small. I would need a 7410 or bigger tractor. And I'm not too big into used equipment unless it's cheap and old, like the 4430 and the 966. You can buy those tractors pretty cheap, even because you're going to put a lot of money into them. I don't want to buy a $50,000 tractor and then put $20,000 in it and then still have a $50,000 tractor. Anderson Cattle Co. If money wasn't a problem, what new equipment would you buy to help you be more efficient or do a better job? 1 or 2 more tractors, new tractors, to replace the 4430 and the 966. New trucks, pickup trucks, and probably another livestock trailer. So when we're hauling cows to pasture, we can get twice as much done. But probably new tractors. As far as I kind of have the equipment that I need to do what I do, and most of it is fairly new. There's kind of been a reason behind all that. So basically, just what I have, but just replace it with new stuff. Christopher McLaughlin. Why limousine? Basically, we were running limousine Angus cross cattle, so they're basically half to 3/4 Angus balances limousine. Limousine adds some hybrid vigor. Limousine calf, kind of like an Angus, so there's not the birth weights aren't an issue. The calving needs is not an issue. Those calves come out thin, slender, then they grow. Limousine are one of the most efficient cattle on feed. Um, Meat and muscle. That's kind of what their trademark is. Um, they're kind of the maintenance. They're kind of like an Angus for being an exotic, and by exotic or continental breed, like the Simmental, the Charolais, limousine, compared to the Angus and Herefords. The limousine are not super heavy milkers, but basically, we've been using limousine bulls, or we're using Limflex bulls now, or Angus bulls. So basically, our bulls are half limousine, half Angus, or purebred Angus. So most of our cows are basically what I like is a 3/4 Angus, quarter limousine calf for the feed yard. They just do really well. They sell really well. And that's what we like. So our cows are kind of the half blood Angus limousine type of deals, or 3/4 Angus. There's some purebred, straight bred Angus out there. Just kind of depends, but we basically run half blood bulls, and then purebred Angus bulls, and then every once in a while, when we do AI, we'll use some purebred limousine bulls. Would I do if I did all again, would I select another breed or combination? Probably not. We do have some Simmental cross cows, but for the main part, we're using the limousine Limflex bulls and Angus bulls. Then once they kind of get mostly straight bred Angus, we'll breed them back to the limousine. 69 D. Ruth, Doug Ruth, Ontario, Canada. How would I start to feed from stocker to finish? How much to feed and when to increase to finish? Talk to your feed rep. So he runs a cow calf and think about feeding them out. Basically, we background our calves, grow them until they're 700 to 800 pounds, and then on a high roughage diet, and then once they hit that 700 to 800 pound mark, then we switch them over to high concentrate, high corn diet. The best thing is to just ask your feed rep, because that's a very loaded question as well of how to do it. It's a very good question. I might be able to make a video sometime, explain a little bit more, but to get this done and to answer that question in 15 seconds is not doing it justice. But basically, we feed a grower ration, which is a high roughage ration, which doesn't allows them to grow frame and size, but doesn't allow them to get fat. And we basically kind of just start them off on like 2.5% of their body weight after they're weaned, and then just keep increasing the feed to them, whatever they'll eat, whatever they clean out of the bunks. And when they get that 700-800 pound mark, then we switch them over to our high corn diet, and same thing, just let them eat what they want. Eric Stainer. I would love to see the Deutz tractor run. Why don't you use it with the loader? Like I said, it's not mine. The tires are, I think there's one good tire out of the 4. They all hold air, but they're all bald. I do plan to start the Deutsch someday, but it's gonna now that it's winter. It's gonna be 3 4 months from now. Tractor's got 8,900 hours on it, I think. I know it's got over 8,000 hours on it. Tractor's wore out. It's tired. It's old. And there's no such thing as a Deutsch dealer. So if that tractor breaks, it's gonna cost more to fix it than the tractor's worth. Those are this part of the world. Those are what you call disposable tractors. You buy them, you use them, you throw them away because there is no dealers for that stuff around here, and it'd take you forever to get parts for it. And plus, that tractor's not big enough. It's 90 horsepower. But yeah, I don't want to break it because I don't want to fix it. I don't even need another one to fix. Price cattle farm. What do you like doing when you're not farming? Seems like you work 24/7. I do not work 24/7. We work when we need to work. I actually have a more normal schedule than most people believe. We just have things to do every day. That's our job, is feeding cattle, taking care of cows. That's the only thing I do is take care of cattle. What do you like doing when I'm not farming? Like I said, I like to spend time with friends, friends, family. Like I said, I got friends got a couple young kids. We do a lot of baseball games in the summertime, bowling, stock car races, just going out to eat, or just hanging out at their place. They show cattle. 4-H calves and 4-H, so we spend a lot of time doing that with them. Got some other friends I hang out with, watch TV. Cousin of mine, second cousin of mine, is a big Doctor Who fan, which I am also a Doctor Who fan. So we get together and watch those on occasion. He's also in 4-H, shows sheep. So basically, spend time with my nieces, nephews, my adopted nieces and nephews, which are my friends' children. Basically, I'm like their uncle, so we do that type of stuff. And then my second cousins, which live pretty nearby, same thing. So spend time with them. YouTube, watching YouTube videos, making YouTube videos. Like I said before, a lot of history, into a lot of history stuff, historical stuff, documentaries, and reading books, not farm stuff. Just kind of anything that has nothing to do with farming. I kind of like for my free time. Which kind of brings me to this next question. Mark Hagendijk, you have about 1,200 head, question mark. Well, yes and no. Close, but all these cattle aren't mine. Mom and dad own a percentage of them, and then I take care of a part of these for another guy. So basically, we're splitting all this about 3 or 4 different ways. Would that not be enough to employ one full-time employee? No. When you pay your rent on everything, when you are a first-generation farmer and buying all your equipment, no. If you only make $50 a head at 1,000 head, that's $50,000 a year. You divide that 3 ways. There's no money for employees. Seems like you never have any downtime. Well, actually we do. We actually have a pretty normal schedule. I always say I don't have time to fix stuff. That's because I'm not sitting out in the shop all night working on stuff. I'm actually done 5 or 6 o'clock every night. On the weekends, I could be done by noon. I could be done by 10 in the wintertime if I wanted to. If I need to be somewhere, I am somewhere when I need to be there. I just adjust my schedule. Don't want to see you get burnt out or neglect your family. Life is too short. I agree with that. Actually, we feed cattle. This is what I do. I have the 350 some odd cows plus the cattle we feed. That's all I do. There's no row crop. There's no farming. There's no nothing. So we have something to do every day, 7 days a week. It takes. There's actually another question. I'll leave the rest of that for that. But yeah, we have to do do it every day, and I do it every day. Dad helps a couple days a week. If I need to, he does. He can do all the chores, but um, no, we're not big enough for a full time employee. I know there's farms that have employees and they have less cattle, but they also do other stuff. And then they're also pretty well established where they're not paying rent on all their land, so they are generating more income. The reason we have to do so much is because we have to pay for everything. So our margins are a lot smaller, so we need to make it up in volume. But very good question. I get that a lot. Uh, Everybody thinks those last two questions are working 24/7 one. When we have to do work, we work, which is a couple days. The last 3 nights, I look tired or whatever. The last 3 nights have been hauling the corn suck bales home till 1 or 2 in the morning. They're all hauled home now. But we did that. I did that 3 nights. My cousin did a lot of them. I think he spent 3 nights doing them. So yeah, we did haul a lot of bales at night, but we did a total of 6 nights, and we didn't start until late. So yeah, when we work, but then the rest of the time we have a lot of free time, so to say. Joey Woods, is there a reason for using a vertical mixer over horizontal? Other than you can put the bales in to grind them. That's kind of the only reason a vertical mixer is they can grind the bales. But I also found out the vertical mixer is you can put a lot more feed in them and not plug them up like the horizontal ones. Having a truck mounted one would mean having one less tractor. I cannot use a truck mounted one because feeding in the dirt yards, truck will not go through. If I had all fence line feed bunks, maybe. But at the same time, a truck, you still have an engine and a transmission to go around. Same things as a tractor. At least a tractor, you can use it for multiple things. I know a person that does have a truck, but they run a 30-mile radius feeding cattle every day. That's why they have a truck for speed. So a truck would not be practical around here. Jared Woodgate. Jared has a channel in South Africa. Milks cows. Very good channel as well. So shout out to Jared Woodgate. Check his channel out if you haven't. How many cows do you have to feed this time of year when they are all off of the pasture? We have to feed all of them. We got 30 replacement heifers, bred heifers that are grazing winter rye, but all the rest of the cows are being fed. We have no winter grazing, so to speak. So there's 350 some odd mama cows being fed. Would you ever think of replacing one of the older tractors with something newer? Yes. As soon as there's money. Kind of similar to the M. If so, would you look at replacing them with and why? I think the new version is a 6130M or 6130R. That's what I would replace. If I got new tractors, that's what I would get. The only reason for the R, and I haven't looked at any specs for a while, but the R's used to have a power boost feature. So you kind of get a little more tractor out of the same base model. But you could still stay in that smaller frame size tractor for maneuverability. So I actually had thought about getting a 61, or replacing the 4430 with a 6150M 2 years ago, a year ago. But that's a bigger size tractor, so they don't get around as nimble as the 6125M and smaller ones do. So I kind of actually looked at maybe getting a 6125R back in the day. You could almost do it for about the same money. It would have been a smaller tractor, horsepower wise, but with the power boost, probably would have got the same power as the 4430. That was kind of my thinking back then. That's kind of my thinking now. There's a couple more questions about that tractor, new tractors, and I can maybe elaborate a little bit more on that. But Thanks, Jarrett, for the question. Iowa Dairy Boys, they have a channel. Check them guys out. Do you buy any hay from a hay sale? Every once in a while. Says they sell some hay at Dyersville. We've actually bought hay at Dyersville. Most of the time it's big square hay. The hay that we buy at the sale barns, the hay sales are kind of more specialty type deals, like big square bales. We use for cabin barn, or we used to use those when we had cattle at my grandparents. We'd use those because we hand fed all those cattle, so we'd use the big squares. Um, and we get some small square straw bales in. We use for our cabin pens or goats and stuff. So the hay price was terrible last summer. Yes, it is. I can buy hay cheaper than I can make it. And actually, Dyersville or Kelowna is two markets that are close to us. If I can get hay trucked here cheaper than I can even bale it or pretend to bale it. Nobody could make any good hay. It was kind of a mixed up summer around here. If I bought hay, I would tend to do it now. After those bales are, because then you know what you're gonna get. There's a lot of hay that comes to town right after it's baled. You can kind of smell them when they're heating. But yeah, there's a lot. There's two hay sales. The Dyersville one is a huge hay sale, and yeah, for the most part, yes, we do buy some, but not most of our hay we buy now is locally from a neighbor. The madness. Why did you pick the coon mixer? We run a Shawbarn Reynolds, and from what I have seen, the coon is slow in comparison. Depends on what you're mixing. I did actually look up the Shawbarn Reynolds. It's a European machine. There's no such thing around here as that. I did look at that. It's pretty neat. It's basically the same thing as a coon. Looks like it costs more money, but it's a nice mixer. It all depends on what you're mixing and the size of the mixer. If you're putting some rough stuff in like we do, really long hay, grass hay, it doesn't grind it up as well as you throw a small bale of haylage in there. Because I can throw a bale of corn stalks in my mixer and it's gone. I can throw a wet bale of hay in there, kind of like a silage bale, and it's gone. But if I throw some CRP 7 foot tall grass stuff in there, it takes forever. So I have mixed feelings on the vertical mixers. Why the coon? Because between coon and J-Lord, that's the only dealers around here. And the J-Lord dealer's an hour and a half away at least. So there's really no made choices. And why the coon? Because the dealer that we get our coon mixer stuff from, or the feed wagon and the manure spreader, we get along with them really well. We blew a tire out on the mixer a week ago. Ruined the rim. Our coon dealer took a tire off of a mixer in their yard, so we could be back in business. That's why we go to them. And how come you don't get a Vario tractor to run on it? Vario Fendt, because same thing. There's no such thing as those around here. We could get one, but then if it broke, something went wrong, I'd be sitting here for 2 months before a part came from overseas. So we run the stuff that we run because of dealers. This is what's around here. Cattle Farmer 88. We run a cow-calf operation, but just wean and bucket feed for 3 days or so, and sell. When feeding a TMR, how many pounds a day do you feed your calves, and how much of an increase in feed when you feed fat cattle rations? Basically, the TMR is just like you're hand feeding them, but just mixes it all together, and then it's just basically the same principle. It just takes the labor out of it. So we basically start them at 2 or 2.5% of their body weight, work them up to 3% of their body weight, and then basically kind of let them have whatever they want to eat. Same thing with the fat cattle. We basically read bunks every day, adjust their feed levels so they kind of are on a constant feed intake, and then we try to push them along or up them twice a week. So like and then just for ease, we started doing it long time ago. Sundays and Mondays, or not Sundays and Wednesdays, is when we up them, and we up them a pound of feed or a pound and a half. So if they're eating 30 pounds of feed and they're cleaning the bunks out, we'll up them to 31 on Sunday, and then if they're still doing the same thing on Wednesday, clean the bunks out, we'll up them to 32. And we'll just kind of keep them every Sunday and Wednesday. We'll up them until they kind of plateau, and we'll just kind of maintain that feed intake. If they're leaving feed, we step them back, but then we won't re-up them until a Sunday or Wednesday. And then the feed chart stuff that I was showing them a couple of videos ago. That's how I kind of keep track of how much feed they've been eating and etc. How many head of calves can you feed with your load in your vertical mixer? To how many the horizontal mixer you had with. This vertical mixer is one size bigger than my old one. This one's a 440 cubic feet. The old horizontal one was 300. So basically, it's a third, 25% bigger. I could feed 80 some odd cows per load. The old one, you could feed about 60 or 50. This wagon for fat cattle, we could probably feed 300 head off of a full load. And then grower cattle, because it's a bulkier ration, probably 200. The wagon is kind of sized right for my pens. My pens hold about 80 head. So on grower calves or cows, basically cows, there's like 80 some odd cows in a pen. Feed pen, a load will feed one group of cows. Where the old mixer, it would take like a load and a half. That was kind of the reason that I jumped sizes and kind of went to the vertical mixer, was because for efficiency. If money was no object, what tractor would you buy? Like a 6130R. The only reason for the R is because if money was no object, I'd just get the fancy one. But anything bigger than that's really not real practical. They just get too big and they're just too cumbersome around here. But that size of tractor, the 125, 130 horsepower and frame size is about ideal. Hilton Family Farm. I'd like to hear more about on your feed rations. What do you aim for and why on feeder calves? Basically, on our grower calves, we're growing them in size, trying not to get them fat. Try to put on weight efficiently and cheap. And then when we get them into our feed yard, we pour the feed to them to make them fat, make them gain efficiently. It's also kind of a really loaded question of an answer. Basically, for our grower calves between 500 pounds and 800 pounds, it's just about growing frame size without getting them fat. Todd Cat 64. You also want to know about my ration hardware. Do you finish all your calves, and where do you market your finished cattle? Yes, we finish all our cattle out. You go to the local sale barn. That's where there's all the kind of the packer buyers are there. There's I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 packers there that buy cattle at the sale barn. So we have really good fat cattle markets there at the local sale barn. Sale barn's about an hour away. That's about a 2.5 hour round trip when we haul fats every Wednesday. Wednesday night. Back to where to get my software. I mentioned it earlier. I made my own spreadsheets using the nutrient requirements of beef cattle book. You can buy this from the National Academy Press. So just Google it on the internet. There's a new version of it. It's $150. And this one did come with a disc that has all this stuff in there for people to use. I didn't look too hard on the new one. And then also, I mentioned earlier, check out the Iowa Beef Center on the internet. Just Google Iowa Beef Center. They do have a ration software called Brands. That's like $200 for all the versions of it. But it's the same thing as this kind of deal, just the Iowa State University's version of it, and kind of the same thing that I got. I think that's all the questions on the original video. If I forgot somebody, I apologize. I've been reading these over the last couple of days, and every once in a while something disappears, so it gets but I think they're all those all there. And then on my reminder video, Whiskey King, does your significant other work on the farm with you? No. This is my job. This is my safe zone, my man cave, or what do you call it? They have their own job. Dairy farm vids. I really like the tractor on the feed wagon. He was referring to the 4430. Which tractor do you prefer, the 966 or the 4430 on the feed wagon? I prefer the 966. I mentioned it before. That's because of the open station. You can see the cattle. You don't have dirty windows. It's easier to get in and out of. You're not tracking mud and manure everywhere. And I actually prefer the open station to the 4430, and the 9 just gets around a whole lot better. Elm Custom Harvesting. Some of these people have commented before. I said go ahead, and if you had another one. So thanks to everybody who's made multiple comments and every comment. Elm Custom Harvesting. Glad you take time out of your day to make videos to share with other people. Some people might not think it's that hard, but it is, especially in farming. Hope you have a great day. Keep warm. Yeah, it's been really cold here, but yes, making these videos is not as easy as it seems. To try to keep them short, that people keeps their attention span. It's a lot of stuff to cram into 5 or 6 minutes. And then if you go to any bit of editing, you could spend hours doing this. I've got 1 hour and 23 minutes on this so far, which is fine because I knew this was going to be a long one. I know everybody's expecting it'll be a long one, but it takes time. But I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it or didn't enjoy it and didn't get the feedback from it. And a lot of times, if I make a video, I may make 6 different versions of it. I do it 6 times because it turns out to be too long, or it turns out to I didn't get what I wanted to really tell you guys about across, or the lighting was bad. I'm hoping this one turns out because I don't want to necessarily do it all over again. But this is the original version of it. Or you can set up your phone somewhere to film it, and then it turns out you didn't catch any of it. Because we do have the chains on the 4430. The chains, we run chains on the tractors in the wintertime. I did do a video of putting them on there. Of course, you haven't seen that because that video never turned out. So it does take a lot of time. It's not as easy as you think, and then you mount it in the tractor, or you try to take a video in a tractor, and then the whole video is shaken and stuff. Or the hardest thing about making a video is to not get the camera moving all over the place and make everybody dizzy. I know I'm probably sitting here spinning in my chair a lot. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be so. But it is hard to do a video. So everybody who does videos, I understand what you're going through, and so. But yeah, we do it because we like to do it. So. The farming life, what is your overall time during the day to do your chores? And how much time do you get for yourself? If I just had to feed cattle, I could be done in 4 hours. This time of year, this is the winter time. In the summertime, I can be done in an hour. Doing the absolute necessary stuff. Basically, spend 4 to 6 hours a day feeding, bedding cattle. Just the general chore stuff. But then on the weekends, we basically, I say we a lot, which is basically me, myself, and I. Because when Dad is here during the week, he doesn't do a lot of the chore stuff. He does a lot of the other stuff, which is a great help. So I still do all the feeding and stuff, but will go haul manure or go haul hay home or fix equipment or change oil and something or do some of the odd jobs or go for parts runs. So basically 4 to 6 hours a day feeding cattle, bedding cattle. On the weekends we can get that down to maybe 4 hours because we don't usually bed on the weekends unless we have to because I don't work every day. If I don't take a day off, the perk of being self-employed is you get to set your own schedule, but you also have to take your own time off. So, he said here on the farm, it seems like we work morning till night without any time to ourselves. Yes, I'm gonna highlight on that a little bit. Because I get that question a lot from just from people. They think we work all the time, and I got to thinking the other night. Because people are, you don't have hobbies or whatever. Well, maybe this is my hobby. Maybe I'm actually blessed and fortunate enough to do what I love. Which I'm sure a lot of these people can attest to that. Maybe this is what I love to do. I don't watch football. I don't sit on the couch Sunday afternoon, all day Sunday in my pajamas and watch football. That doesn't interest me. But that's what people think everybody should be doing, because otherwise you're just working too much. If you do that, it's fine. But when you tell me that I should be doing that, I take a little. It gets to me. So, because I was thinking this other night when I was hauling bales at 2 in the morning. I'm doing this because I love doing it, and I'm fortunate and blessed to be able to do this. Because I'll ask people that kind of question me that if you could make money at your hobby, would you do it? Everybody's got the 9 to 5 job, and they're the ones that say we work too much. Well, we're actually doing what we love to do. So there's a lot of that is yes, we work a lot. So we get time to ourselves. Well, actually, I do because I can kind of set my own schedule, and yeah, I have to work 4 to 6 hours every day. But the rest of the day I got off if I want to. But we have things we have to do during as well, and we always find something to do. And I do a lot of stuff in the summertime because I don't like the cold weather. So basically, as fast as I can get back in the house, back in the house. But that's kind of one of those. Everybody thinks that farmers work a lot. Yes, they do, but they actually have a lot of free time. And then actually, if you ask a lot of them, it's what they do, and it's kind of a lifestyle. The Virginia Farmer. Where do you take your fat cow? Local sale barn, an hour away. Um, Most cattle end up in Omaha or Tyson's. Jacob, how long have you had the 420 skid loader? Since it's a 2007, and I bought it in 2009. And what will your next tractor most likely be? A John Deere 6130M or 6130R. Um, I think the 6130 is a new version of the 6125M. So that, or I have considered getting a Case International Maxim 125 or something like that. I have no problem getting a red one. I actually might get a red one. Because I've actually thought about replacing the 966 for a feed wagon tractor, and by replacing I mean parking the 966 in the shed, not selling it. And I've also thought about getting, they call them the Farmall A Series Case International, get like a 140A Case International. I have to look at them more. They're kind of like the D series of the John Deeres, and I know everybody's gonna say, "Don't get them, don't get them, don't get them." I did drive a drive a D series John Deere before I bought the M, or leased the M. I hated it. That's why we got the one with the M. A lot of it is the cab and the tractor, but for a feeding tractor, since we have the M, I can get by with a little less of a tractor as far as fanciness. A lot of the interior of the tractor, because we spend a lot of time in the M hauling bales. So the way the gear shifts, levers were arranged, the joystick for the loader, that was all a big decision why I went with that versus the D series. But since we got this one, we don't need it something as fancy if I'm gonna leave it glued to the feed wagon all the time. Even though that feed wagon, we put more hours on that tractor than any other one. So that's all up in the air at the moment. Darren Van Dam asked the same thing. If you were to get a new tractor, what would it be? A 6130M or R John Deere, or even a 125 Case International Maxim. Nothing against the John Deeres. Nothing against the red ones either. We haven't had a new red one